Good evening and welcome to this January 20th edition of EastCast. I'm David Drogman along with Corey Ringer to bring you the news of the week. January 25th through the 29th marks the annual Recycling Week here at East. And as always, Cherry Hill East's own Friends of the Environment will be making sure that this year's Recycling Week will be better than last year's. Among other things, advisor Elizabeth Mancini and a few members of Friends of the Environment will be meeting with school administrators and maintenance workers to obtain statistics of the recycling that goes on here at East and to inquire about a possible courtyard beautification to be held in the spring. There will also be announcements all week explaining why recycling is important, and there will be a showcase on recycling. There will be signs, reminders, and newsletters which will be passed out during homeroom that will show why recycling is so necessary. Also in the works, green ribbons might be passed out for Friends of the Environment members to wear during next week. Meanwhile, preparation continues for Project Earth, also from Friends of the Environment. There will be 6 groups, each assigned a different topic that will teach 5th graders at Cherry Hill Elementary Schools about the environment. Project Earth is being funded by the EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency. It is a very important project to Mancini. She said, and I quote, "Environmental education may be our future. If we don't learn about it and care, there might not be a future." In other news, apartheid and its meaning to black South Africans came to East on Friday when Mr. Bonane Tubete, a native of the Zulu tribe of Southern Africa, spoke to the non-Western culture class. Mr. Tubete teaches at a black women's teacher college in South Africa. He gave the class insight into growing up in the 1950s and 60s in South Africa, as well as his opinion of the present changes in South African politics. He also told of many of the customs and traditions of his tribes, including his role as mediator in the wife selection process within the tribe. Corey?
This week, East Theater will once again perform Godspell. This is the 3rd time the show has appeared on our stage. The first time was in 1978. The second time was 2 years ago with the summer theater production. Godspell is the musical based on the Gospel according to St. Matthew. The rock musical first opened off-Broadway in 1971. The show is different from other musicals in several aspects. First of all, the show has practically no set, just a steel fence and some makeshift platforms. Another way the show is different, the actors are not playing roles. They are playing themselves with different characteristics. They even use their own names. Here's Dana Baker with one of the show's actors, Eric Braverman, who plays Jesus in the show.
Godspell is finally here. It opens January 22nd and runs on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. I'm very lucky enough to be here with one of the Godspell stars, Eric Braverman, who plays Jesus. Eric, how many people are in the cast of Godspell?
16.
Usually the shows are double cast. Why isn't Godspell?
Well, Godspell is a true ensemble show, and all of the action in the play revolves around the cast being a family. So to double cast it would have kind of taken away from that sense of family, so we hope that by single casting it, we'd be able to bond better to present a better togetherness for the opening night.
Is it easier single casted?
Much easier.
What is the show about?
Well, it's a show that's very difficult to explain without seeing it, so of course you'll have to come see it. But it's a show of acceptance and tolerance. When you come into the theater, we ask you to put away all the conventions that you've known from the outside world and try and accept what you see on stage to become part of the same family that the cast is.
How often are rehearsals?
Every day.
When did you begin?
I guess the very end of October. We've been running straight through break right till now.
Compared to shows previously performed here, why is there so much more publicity going on?
Well, Godspell is a show that not many students know about, so we wanted to spread the word. Also, we think in general, students, it's not that they don't want to support the fall show, just that a lot of times they don't know about it. So we tried to do a real big publicity campaign for the show. Especially there's only 16 people, so there's not too much word of mouth going around.
Would you give us ticket information and tell us when those dates are again?
Sure. Tickets went on sale yesterday at the school box office. They're all reserved for $5, so anybody who wants to come see the show can either come in during school hours, I think from around 10 to 1 to the school box office, or get them at the door. The dates are opening Friday, January 22nd at 8 p.m., then 2 more night shows, Saturday and Sunday at 8 p.m., and a special Sunday mat at 2 o'clock.
Eric, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Well, we're all very proud of our family in Godspell, and we really hope that everybody watching this interview would like to come and be a part of it as well.
Well, I know I'm very anxious for Godspell, and you will be too. So this has been Dana Baker reporting for EastCast.
Thanks, Dana. The show is going to be a multimedia presentation with laser lights and other lights and sound effects. Godspell will be one of East classics. There will only be 4 performances, so if you want to see the show, you only have 4 choices. My advice is to see the first one on Friday. That way, you can see the other 3. On January 5th and 6th, marketing education students attended the South Jersey DECA Conference. The conference was held at the Sheridan Post in Cherry Hill. 800 students from across South Jersey attended the conference. 10 of East students will go on to the state finals held in March. Paul Gagordian won first place in apparel and accessories. He also won number 1 in South Jersey. Craig Benokas won first place male fashion model. Dave Appelstein achieved 3rd place overall finance and credit. Most of the other students who participated received an honorable mention. Congratulations to all.
The annual SGA lip sync competition will be held next Friday, January 29th at 7:30 p.m. Right now, 14 groups are slated to perform. That in itself should make this year's show better than last year's show, according to Neil Relosa, the junior class president. Relosa said, and I quote, "Unlike last year, there will be more acts, all as a matter of fact competing, that tried out. It should be a great show," end of quote. The acts will be judged tentatively by student government officers from Cherry Hill High School West. The annual lip sync competition is next Friday. It was TGIF time again. On Friday, January 15th, the Home and School Association held another TGIF night. The bands Wish and Hydra were scheduled to perform, and activities featured included volleyball, ping pong, movies, and other games. The reason TGIF was started was to give kids something safe to do on Friday nights, according to Fred Belchikoff. Some kids still don't go, he said, because they don't want to come back to school. If you have any suggestions or comments about why kids don't go to TGIF, please submit them to Cable 18 so that we can air them on a later date.
And now over to West Fine with this week's highlights in sports.
In boys basketball this week on Tuesday, Cherry Hills lost to Eastern 79-62. Scoring leaders were John Brand with 10, Brendan Cody with 10, and Brent Fisher, who led all Cougars with 16. East had 7 3-pointers in the game. On Thursday, East lost to Camden 89-64. John Brand led all Cougars with 21 points. Other players in double figures were Brent Fisher with 16 and Brian Lavelle with 10. And on Saturday, East played Absegami and won 88-59. John Brand again led all scorers with 26. Brent Fisher had 24, Brendan Cody had 12, and Brian Lavelle had 11. In girls basketball on Thursday, East dominated Camden 82-31. Chris Reagan led with 19, Joe Marple had 17, Chris Neal had 14, Melissa Dip-Pilbosian had 13, and Danielle Williams had 10. East played well the whole game, dominating the first 3 quarters. In wrestling, the Cougars saw action against Triton on Wednesday. East won the game with a final score of 37-23. Some of the winning pins were by Jeff DeJong and Jeff Kelmer. And on Saturday, East played Cherokee and lost with the final of 35-31. Some of the winning pins for East were by Jeff DeJong and Andrew Jensen. That's all for sports this week, and now back to you, Corey.
Evan Ringer is this week's featured student. Evan is graduated in East in 1989. After his graduation, he spent freshman year in Israel. When he returned to America, he attended Fairleigh Dickinson University in northern New Jersey on a half scholarship. The next year, he continued to receive the half tuition scholarship. Plus, he also received free room and board because he became a resident assistant. Evan continues to achieve outstanding grades in the Industrial Psychology Department at FDU. Today, he is receiving an additional half scholarship. The scholarship he is receiving is the Martin Luther King Scholarship. The scholarship is rewarding the student who best demonstrates the values of Martin Luther King. Right now, Evan is being treated to an expensive dinner out, while his younger brother will probably have to order a pizza. Congratulations, Evan. This has been EastCast for Clinton's inauguration on January 20th. I'm Corey Ringer with co-anchor David Drockman and West Fine in Sports. Stay tuned to Cable 18 for the East-West Swim Meet. Tonight we leave you with Chelsea. Oh, sorry, that's Ophelia. All decked out for the inaugural ball. Good night, Ophelia.
Good evening and welcome to the West Report. I'm Amy Schneider.
And I'm Lindsay Melson. Last Friday and Saturday, West students and elementary school students from Thomas Paine School put on 3 performances of Alice in Wonderland. The production was sponsored by the PTA and the Home and School Association. With the help of director Michael Taubenflog, the students rehearsed for 1 week prior to the show. The play included songs, but no real scripts were used, which left much of the improvisation up to the actors. Heidi Bank, a junior, played Alice. The Queen was Katie Eld. Miriam Miller played the Duchess. Casey Barrett played the Caterpillar. Dave Coburn was the Cheshire Cat. Liz Lawler played Humpty Dumpty. Winston Ludlam and Josh Cohen were Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Louis Cascarilla was Pons, and the head cook was played by Sarah Henderson. Congratulations to the entire cast and crew of Alice in Wonderland.
The forensics team will compete in their first meet of the year this Saturday, January 23rd. For those who are unaware, the forensics team has many different categories, including debate, impromptu speaking, poetry and prose readings, original oratory, and humorous and dramatic monologues. Stay tuned to the announcements to hear about future meetings. New members are always welcome. The team is co-captained by Lauren Grabell and Amy Schneider. And now, here's Dave Marico with this week's sports.
In sports, the girls' basketball team continued its rampage last week, raising its record to 8-1 by defeating Triton, Highland, and Paul VI. Against Highland, Chrissy Zepnicki scored 24 points to lead the team, and Janaea Butler led the team with 22 points and 28 points respectively in the other 2 contests. The team should fare well against Edgewood, Eastern, and Haddon Heights this week. The boys' basketball team also fared well last week, going 2-1. The Lions began the week by topping Triton 65-60. Freshman Anthony DeMichael paced the team with 16 points in this game. Then on Thursday, the team beat Highland 67-55. Anthony Sachi scored 14 for West in that game. The week was ended with a 65-42 loss to Paul VI, in which the 3-6 Lions were led by Sachi 16 points. Edgewood, Eastern, and Haddon Heights this week. The boys' swim team had a 2-1 week with wins over Haddonfield and Pennsauken and a 100-83 loss to arch-rival East, in which the boys swam very well. Adam Ritchie, Christian Amonte, Ian Holmes, and Chris Ergood continue to grab the first places for West. The team swims Gloucester Township in its lone meet this week. The girls' swim team dropped 2 close meets last week. On Monday, the team fell to East 109-77. On Friday, the girls lost a heartbreaker to Cherokee 94-89, in which the meet came down to the final relay. Carolyn Thorpe, Jody Sanders, and Lauren Semino again led the team last week. Lauren Newman, who was unable to attend the Cherokee meet, won both the 200 free and the 500 free against East. Amy Hogan and Jen Russell continue to dive well for West. The team is idle this week. The West wrestling team won 1 and lost 2 last week. Against Bishop Eustace last Wednesday, the team had a solid 36-30 victory. Then against highly talented South Jersey teams as Lenape and Camden Catholic, the team was beaten 59-6 and 38-14 respectively. Junior Randy Goldberg led the team, going 3-0 last week, and he wrestles in the 130-pound weight class. The team will grapple with Camden tonight and Overbrook on Saturday. And finally, the girls and boys bowling team will play Pennsauken Tech, Pennsauken, and Deptford this week. I just wanted to remind you that, again, I was correct on my prediction. I'll give you my Super Bowl prediction next week. We'll talk. Well, that's all the sports. Now back to the anchors.
Yesterday, pictures were being taken in the auditorium for all students who are involved in extracurricular activities. Passes were sent to members of various clubs when their group's picture was being taken. These group photos will be put in the 1992-93 yearbook.
Earlier, Amy was able to go to the cafeteria to find out the expectations of West students for President Clinton. Let's see what they had to say.
Being that this is Inauguration Day, we decided to venture into the West cafeteria and see what the West community is expecting from President Bill Clinton.
I think that Bill Clinton should end the war with Saddam Hussein and kill him. And I think that he should, help every race and every community and, get drugs off the street and make world peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't think Bill Clinton will do as well as a job as President Bush did because he doesn't have the foreign affairs experience like President Bush did. But I hope he takes an aggressive stand with Iraq. And I hope he also does things that will benefit the Africans in Somalia. And I hope that he follows George Bush's example, but I hope he also puts in some effort and shows the same effort as George Bush did. Thank you.
A better country.
Thank you.
I basically think that Bill Clinton will be a good president. I believe his economic plan will be get us out of the bad recession that we're having now, and basically that he's going to be good.
Elective fairs were held last week. Their purpose was to inform students of the optional courses which are available to them for next year. Last Wednesday, students had an opportunity to learn about different social studies related courses. Then on Friday, an assembly was held to talk about their other options. Hopefully these fairs will succeed in educating students about the many different electives at West. The cast and crew of this year's spring musical, West Side Story, are working hard on the production scheduled for March. If you would like to get involved with the show, contact Mr. Jalora or Miss McMenamin. Last week, we neglected to mention that our own sports reporter, Dave Marika, was cast as Riff. Sorry, Dave.
Don't miss the Faculty Talent Show this Friday night. This is a chance to let all your favorite teachers entertain you with their marvelous talents. So remember to be there this Friday night at 7:30 p.m. in the auditorium.
Thank you for watching the West Report. Please join us again next week at this time. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, I'm Stacey Edelman, and welcome to Carusi News. An upcoming event here at Carusi is a book fair. The PTA of Carusi Junior School will be holding its annual book fair from Monday, January 25th through Wednesday, January 27th. A variety of fiction and nonfiction books will be sold, ranging in price from $1.95 to $7.95. This year's Scholastic Book Fairs will be supplying the book selection, which is geared to the interest of the junior high grades. The book fair will be held in the John O'Brien Memorial Library during school hours, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Parents are welcome to attend. Last Thursday, the jazz band, Wind Ensemble, and the award-winning chorus and show choir performed for the first time this year. The chorus and band director, Mr. Trimble, Mr. Kelleher, and Mrs. Kaniskis, did a fabulous job, as well as the students who performed. We thank all who came out to see. Another activity to students at Carusi is bowling. Here is Mark with the story.
Thanks, Stacy. Bowling is a sport which is extremely popular throughout the United States. At Carusi, we have a team that is made up of 24 boys and 6 girls. The top bowlers for the boys are Soley with a high score of 164 and Peter Woodworth with a high score of 160. The top bowlers for the girls are Senely, whose high score was 136, and Veronica Banks with a high score of 118. The season ends with a tournament against Beck Middle School, but otherwise the bowlers don't compete against other schools. The program is coached by Mr. Slobodkin. When our bowlers get to high school next year at Cherry Hill West, they will have the opportunity to compete against other schools, such as Eastern, Washington Township, and Cherry Hill East, just to name a few. Thank you. Back to you, Stacy.
Here with sports is Reggie Hardwick.
Thanks, Stacy. The Carusi sports season is well underway with all the teams playing games. Here's Arit with wrestling.
Thanks, Reggie. Carusi's wrestling team, with a record of 5-3, has many individuals that have made extremely helpful contributions. For example, Anthony DePaul at 90 pounds, Matt Alamy at 95 pounds, Dave McCafferty at 100 pounds, Michael Young at 110 pounds, Lance Peck at 115, Ben Albacetti at 120, Jim Lupinetti at 125, Brian Gismonti at 150, Andrew Cunningham at 160, Adam Winstrom at 175, and Brian Duffy at 189. Just to name a few. We hope the wrestling team continues a great season. Good luck at your next meet. Now back to you, Reggie.
Thanks, Arit. Here's Dave Lazowski with 7th grade girls basketball.
Thanks, Reggie. On Friday the 8th, the 7th grade girls basketball team hosted crosstown rivals Beck. Even though a good effort was made by the girls, Beck came out on top with the final score 14-11. Last Monday, the team lost to Delran 20-16 after trailing 14-4 at halftime. The girls played incredible defense to pull within 2 points with just under 1 minute to play. Jackie Rispoli led the defensive charge, while Colleen Murray and Joy Alexander led the offensive with numerous assists from Jamie Elias. Amy Gorman and Joanne Hornstein added some key rebounds in the Mustangs' comeback. Last Wednesday, the girls changed their record to 2-2 by beating Glen Landing 17-13. Colleen Murray and Jackie Rispoli led the scoring with 5 points each. Jamie Elias and Joy Alexander and Chanel Cercieglu contributed points for the Mustangs. Last Friday, the girls' defense dominated Bethel Baptist 17-6. Jessica Vernon scored 9 points for Carusi. Upcoming games for Carusi are against Marlton and Morristown. Back to you, Reg.
Thanks, Dave. For 8th grade girls basketball, here's Seth Dunwitz.
Thanks, Reggie. So far this season, the Carusi girls' 8th grade basketball team has a record of 1-4. In their first game, the girls lost a tough game to Chestnut Ridge by the score of 45-17. Their next game was at Beck on January 8th. Despite a good effort, Carusi's girls lost again. Next, the Lady Mustangs played Delran and lost 26-12. Another loss to Glen Landing by the score of 14-7 put the girls' record at 0-4. But then, last Friday, Carusi defeated Edgewood for their first win of the season. Their efforts may not show their 1-4 record, but you can be sure they'll be posting more wins soon. Back to you, Reggie.
Thanks, Seth. And now the 7th grade boys basketball team. Here's Leslie Ryan.
Thanks, Reggie. The 7th grade boys basketball team is off to a good start this season with a record of 3 wins and 4 losses. Key players to the team are Isaac Munz, Ben Zuber, Tom Maloney, Paul Donato, Damon King, and Quinn Tam. Good luck to the team with the rest of their season. Back to you, Reggie.
Thanks, Leslie. For 8th grade boys basketball, here's Diane Zibikowski.
On Thursday, January 6th, the 8th grade boys basketball team lost to Chestnut Ridge. Dave Schwastik had 11 points and Rob Martini had 9 to lead the Mustangs scoring. On Friday, January 8th, they played their crosstown rivals Beck for an exciting night game, but lost 48-40. Dave Schwastik and Rob Martini both played well and each scored 11 points. On Monday, January 11th, played Delran and defeated them 35-34. Rob Martini led the Mustangs with 10 points, Ben Salerno having 3 steals, and Mark Bush with 4. Both played well defensively. Adam Schmidt also led Carusi with 5 rebounds. Last Thursday, Carusi was led into the 3rd victory in a row by Adam Schmidt. The Mustangs defeated Glen Landing 50-43. Adam Schmidt shot 10 for 11 from the foul line and added 2 field goals for a total of 14 points. Bart Procacci and Dave Schwastik also played well. We wish the boys good luck on the rest of the season. Back to you, Reggie.
Thanks, Diane. And now here's a special report. Here's Dave Zalkman.
On Saturday, January the 9th, the Cherry Hill Recreation Indoor Field Hockey League started. It's coordinated by Sue Schooley, head coach at East, and the site director is Diana Schomer. Enough girls came out for Carusi to have 2 teams consisting of 12 members on each. The league takes about an hour every Saturday for 10 weeks in Carusi's gym. Carusi plays round-robin hockey games against neighboring junior schools. The winning teams will get trophies and prizes. The idea of the league is to get playing time while learning skills and strategies. We wish the 2 Carusi teams the best of luck against the teams from Morristown, Beck, and King's School. Back to you, Reggie.
Thanks, Dave. Back to you, Stacy.
Thanks, Reggie. We'd also like to thank Mr. Hanson, our cameraman, and Mr. Gross, our advisor. Thanks for watching. Good night.